Welcome back to The Rising of the Shield Hero. Anime Review, episode number 32. We're here reviewing the 52nd episode of the series. Yes, we're basically on season, still on, so this one's called An Official Welcome. So, in this particular episode, they kind of adapted a little bit of sequences out of order, but mostly they adapted like 3 full chapters. 4 through 6. So we start with the beginning of chapter 4 here, with basically Nafumiya's group arriving in Nafumiya's room, commenting on its size, and of course mentioned about the servant quarters, and then afterwards they decided to go shopping. But Nafumiya couldn't leave the palace because basically it would cause a big stir. They mentioned the last episode. So, they could leave. But Rafika had to stay here. Just to keep an eye on it. And of course, that plays a role in a later scene, which is one of the most bizarre scenes I've ever seen. So, the group basically are like, just looking around, having a good time. Of course, they would go to a cafe, where they notice basically Alta and her brother are being ignored by the Urdemi-humans. And of course, they see this other person who is actually a tiger, a white tiger demi-human, which they explain a little later is actually a friend of theirs. So, as for why they're looked down upon, well, there kind of is a reason, and it's kind of stupid. So, now Fumi, of course, has prepared for this big banquet, and forced to wear, with the exception of the helmet, basically this weird outfit that shows off a six-pack. Yes, he wears it twice in the episode. And of course, there's a conference, a luncheon, and they have this food, which is apparently their breakfast, which looks like to be like oatmeal, presumably. After a few times of having it, Philo is like, this is not yummy anymore because they keep serving the same exact thing. Like, can't you serve anything else for breakfast besides the same stuff? He points them out later on. So, then they have, a meeting about budget, possibly a ship, and of course, Jara, of course, during the party, Jara, there's kind of a with him where possibly there was something involving him and Alta and her brother, parents' death, and his story doesn't add up. And apparently the military did not want to investigate it for some reason, despite the fact they should have. But no, they chose not to, for reasons. They say he has limited position. As for why, they say because he's not one of the 4 great races. He's a fucking lion person. How is he not one of the 4 great races? And even he points out, though, maybe he's restructured the government to focus on basically the 4 great races. Other people very powerful who have freaking blood ties. Yeah, he basically makes a lot of points in the party. Definitely does agree with some of the stuff he says. But not exactly, he doesn't exactly put his place exactly what it was supposed to be, but he does agree he's going to vote unofficially, of course. And then one morning, they're having before we get to that scene there's this weird scene here before the banquet, where Naofumi is relaxing in the bath, no problem with Ralphie, and then for some weird reason, somebody put an aphrodisiac in the water. And then a whole bunch of ladies came in. And he's like, what are you all doing here? You do realize, though, I'm in here. And despite the fact he tells them to leave, they're like, no. He puts up his meteor shield, causes an illusion. And looking up, basically, Raphtalia basically just comes in. He's embarrassed by saying Naofumi in a towel, because she has a thing for him. And they realize back in season 1 of the show. And of course, what was her name? The one who's basically kind of her big sister. Serena. She's basically like, her whole thing is that she loves flirting with Naofumi. Yeah, she loves flirting with him. So she's like licking her lips, like, ooh, what a nice figure. Yeah, and then we have the whole next day, that whole thing with the women. They mentioned about the harem, which is something that was mentioned in the last episode, and this is basically the basis. This like whole scene is basically from chapter 5, and then we have the end of the episode where Phil knows, oh, this is not yummy anymore, and then of course then Fumi knows, oh crap, all the bowls are laced with poison. So that Fumi orders basically a antidote to be distributed immediately, which of course they will, and then he's like, and of course you have Jara and, well, the guy basically who's there. What is his name here? He's basically like a Birdman. I'm trying to find his name here. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, so yeah. And he's just, well, you like to have meetings, let's have a meeting. And of course, basically, it's like arguing. And then, like, and of course, Fumi tries to get him to stop, and then Alta basically tells everybody to shut up, and in the episode. I enjoyed this one. Yep, good episode. Yes, how many chapters more of book number 13? Well, it's got a little while to go, because this book is basically like 15 chapters. Yeah, 15 chapters. And pretty much in a way, they kind of went through the 4 through 6, and they started adapting books chapter 7. Yeah, they kind of did that. But in case you're curious about the arc, the Salvage the Gesher, that's basically what the previous episode started. Well, it takes up 2 books. Yeah. Yeah, and then we have, like, the arc to see that, which is the Heavenly Emperor, which is also 2 books as well. There's also the Hadu arc. That's 1 book. Yes, 1 book. Book 15. War of the Heroes. They actually do not. I think it just, well, takes up basically volume 16. It's like basically at the book 15, it's like 1 book for a little bit, and then it's like 2 books for Return to New World. And then Fu Battle, which takes the book 18 as well. Yeah, 18 covers like 2 arcs. And then we have Third Army arc, which is basically 18 to 20. And then we have the most recent arc, which I read up to, Heroes of the Past and Present. That's super quite interesting. Now, how far do I think that the season will cover? I think the season's probably cover just 2 books. Yes, I think so. It may start adapting book 15 by the end of the season, maybe. Who knows? Excuse me. So that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like and subscribe to notifications. Well, I don't have more time for videos tonight, so I'll see you all tomorrow for reviews for Reborn of the Machine, a new anime, along with the final episodes of Last Horizon the World Season 2. There's also Dr. Stone and Don. Okay, thanks you. Bye.